Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I think most of you have got this histogram. Now, as you can see that from the shape, you can easily understand that it seems like from a normal distribution, right? That this kind of a bell-shaped bar, or everybody has got the same picture. Now, basically, what I have done, I have artificially generated some random numbers from the normal distribution of the Gaussian distribution, with, whose mean is given by, we know that Gaussian distribution is characterized by two parameters. Mean is 5 and standard deviation is equal to 1.5. And this is the graph that we get. Right? Now, when we compute mean of this, so mean of x, what we are getting? We are getting 4.92. Right? What the mean value we are computing, this is very, very close to 5. Right? Because the population that you have considered, you have considered the values. You have sampled from a population from a normal distribution. Right? Now the question is, given a single set of data values, you can get only one mean values, only one value of the sample mean. Right? Then how can you provide the uncertainty associated with the sample mean? Right? Understand the problem very clearly. And suppose that today you went to the field and you collect some sample about some particular plant you have found out, and you have measured the length of the leaf, right? And today you have done this. Suppose for 15 plants you have done this process. So if you compute the mean, as a mean for that, or mean of those values, you are going to get a single value. You know that the value that you have got, it is subject to uncertainty. Means if tomorrow again you go, you randomly select 10 plants and you measure the length of the leaf, and then you compute the mean, they are going to be different, right? So how much uncertainty associated with this estimate of the mean that you have computed? So that idea, what is known as a standard error, that whenever you are estimating some quantity regarding the population, how much certain you are about that approximation, or how much certain with estimation, or how much uncertainty is associated with your estimation, this is given by the standard error. When you have a small sample, small data values, then this bootstrap is a very important method by which we actually provide the standard error associated with the mean. Is the context clear?
Yes, sir.
So now how we can actually, but you know that if you could go for multiple days and multiple mean value you can compute, if you compute the standard deviation of those mean values, you can get a standard error associated with the mean, sample mean. But every day we cannot go, right? Every time we cannot go and collect the data. So that means whatever the data values you have in your hand, based on that you can want to provide an estimate of the standard error. And what is that? So let us simulate more data values, more sample of same size from the given data. So what we have? We have 30 data values. Now let me call B is equal to, suppose, 1000. What is that? That I'm going to generate 1000 many new samples. Now let us try to understand how we can do that. Suppose you consider a number. So suppose that you consider a number. Consider some number.
What else? Volume.
Let me call this y is equal to, say, c 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. First, you don't have to write it. You understand the process, what it is doing. This code will be provided to you, but understanding is important. Suppose I'm writing sample of y. So you execute this line y and sample of y. What do you get in the sample of y? It is you got the same values 1, 2, 3, 4, but in some orders, right? At first you got 3, 1, then you got 3, then you got 4, then you got 2. Then again the same values 1, 4, 3 to appear, but in a different order. Right? Then again I'm doing it, so again I got the same values, but in its different order, right? This is what it is doing. We know from our basic idea that it is called as a simple random sampling without replacement. So that means first I selected one value. So for example, if I see this array that I got, first I randomly select one number. I got 2. But 2 I did not return to the box. So I am remaining with 1, 3, 4. So next I go pick up the value which is 1. But I did not return it to the box. Then I have 3 and 4. Then I got the 3 and then got 4. So this is known as a simple random sampling without replacement. So if I do this, I am going to get the same set of sample values with a different order. Clear? Now if I want to perform a simple random sampling with replacement, what does that mean? Once I randomly select the value, I am again going to return it. So that means in the same value here, if I add one more term, that sample y replace is equal to 2. That means now you execute this. Can you see that? Here I got 3, 2, 4, 3. So 3 essentially appeared twice in the sample. If I execute this again, I got 4, 4, 2, 2. So this is the most very basic principle of simple random sampling with replacement and without replacement. When you got a randomly select a value from your original data, you are going to return it back. This guy can again appear when you draw it again. So what are you going to do? The bootstrap, by the method bootstrap, we draw sample from the data using simple random sampling with replacement scheme. With replacement scheme, right? And like this, we create large number of samples of the same size. Of same size. Now, what is the origin data we are having here? It is X. X is my original data. This is the data what you are having. Now, my first sample, bootstrap sample, would be sample X replace is equal to 2. So this is a new sample that I have got. Now I cannot write this process to b is equal to 1000. So you have considered b is equal to 1000. So you cannot write this line 1000 many times. So what you are going to consider? We are going to write a loop. Okay. So you may not write it also. Let me write it down so that the code will be shared. You can automatically get it. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to define a matrix. So boot underscore matrix. Let's call it only matrix. mat is equal to matrix. Now in the matrix there is nothing, and n row, number of rows I want is a capital B. So these many rows in 1. And how many columns I want? The size of the sample is length x. So that means whatever the length of the x, it is going to be my size of the right. Now what I'm going to do? So let us see what is there in the matrix now. So I can call this matrix, and suppose that if I view my matrix, if I want to view my matrix, this is the view of the matrix. Sorry, I get data. Sorry. View of my matrix, which is schematic. So this is basically the, as you can see that there are 30 columns, and there are 1,000 many rows, which is not showing here completely, but there are 1,000 many rows. Now what I'm going to consider, I'm going to consider the sample of size x as it is, x is having, and I'm going to do it for 1,000 many times. So I'm writing a loop for that, for I in 1:b. This means I'm going to run this loop for capital B many times, and I'm going to create a sample. Say my z is equal to sample x, replace is equal to true, and I'm going to fill this matrix ith row, completely ith row, with this value of z. So this is what I did. And let us see what is the some initial some values of the mat. This is basically the matrix that you have got. So this is the first 6 columns of this, first 6 rows of this matrix. As you can see that some values are going to be repeating, but each of the rows of this matrix is going to contain a data set of size as of x, where the values are being selected by following simple random sampling with replacement from the original data, which is your x, right? Now let us compute the mean value for each of the rows. This is, we call it as a boot underscore mean. So we call it a bootstrap mean. I'm just writing it over. Each row of this matrix is called bootstrap sample. Now what we are going to do over here? I'm going to compute boot underscore means is a new variable, and I'm computing this row means, and I'm passing this matrix. If I print this boot underscore means, what I have got? I got 1,000 many mean values. So that means from the original population, I have artificially created, from the original sample, I have artificially created 1,000 many samples. And for each of the samples, I computed the mean, and that we call it as a mean values by for each of the bootstrap sample, what we got the bootstrap mix. Now I am declaring this as a my final mean value is now is equal to the mean of this boot underscore means, and the bootstrap standard error. This is going to be the SD of standard error of this boot underscore mean values. Right? Now, what are the bootstrap mean values that we have got? If we draw a histogram of that, boot means probability is equal to true. What we get this? This is the histogram we get. This is basically, we call it as a bootstrap histogram for the sample mean. So this is what we call it as a bootstrap histogram for the sample mean. Is it clear? So, and this is, and the corresponding standard error that we got for this boot mean values, that is what we known as a bootstrap standard error. So this programmatically for many of you might have faced little bit of difficulty in understanding. I'll just explain you why I want you to understand this process, because this is something ecologists, biologists heavily use. Permutation tests and doing other things. This simulation is extremely important. That where is your statistical inference is standing as compared to the many possible simulated scenarios. And these are increasingly becoming popular and very useful in most of the recent very top publications we are observing. And in fact, we are also following the similar kind of process, and we ensure that. So what I did, so let me just explain it a bit of graphically. So that if you understand this process, there are multiple ways that this can be done. Okay, I request you to have a look at this. I have opened up a page. You are able to see that some new page has come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what I have done, now suppose that you have got some leaf width, right? This is from the field you have collected, and these are the values that we have got. Let me note you the x1 and x2, x3, x4, x5. So this is the measurements that you have taken. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simulated sets, so new sets. So this is the set I'm getting from simple random sampling with replacement. So it is SRS W1. So that means x2, first one might get x2, then maybe x4, then again maybe x2 repeated, x5, and maybe x1. So this is, we call it as a first bootstrap sample. The same set, another again I'm going to generate from here. Like this, I'm going to generate, say, B many sets. So maybe this is x2, x4, x5, x3. Now from this, I'm going to get one sample mean. So I am going to consider mean of all these values. Again, I am going to consider mean of all these values. Like this, I am going to consider mean of my bth bootstrap sample also. So xb bar. Now these are the new mean values which I have got, right? And next, what is my bootstrap mean? Mean of these values. So average. So average of this x1 bar and xb bar. Got it? And if you draw a histogram, now you have these values x1 bar and xb bar. If you draw a histogram of these values, what you get, this is known as a bootstrap histogram of sample mean. Extremely powerful technique when you do not have any idea about the underlying population. Now remember that all the test procedure that you talk about, that t-test, z-test, and ANOVA and everything, if you talk to a statistician, they are always going to talk about, most of the time you don't know what kind of test you all do. You don't even know the assumptions and everything. Whether my population is normal or not, first of all, you need to check that. They're absolutely correct. But unfortunately, in reality, although many of the theories, when we regularly talk about, they are from normal, but the real data does not really that much nice. So most of the time, or in fact all the time, we never ever know what is the population distribution. So that means what is the God's play about the nature. We are collecting the data from the nature and we have no idea. We are only developing all the test procedures based on the assumption. Now what Bootstrap does, whatever sample value you have got it reshuffle it and compute several sample mean values and try to understand that if I want to approximate the mean behavior with based on this sample, how much uncertainty associated with there. And when we compute this and then we compute this Bootstrap standard error. Which is this regular formula that you know, that xi bar minus x bar whole square divided by 1 p minus 1 square root. This is known as, this is the quantity which actually, when you have a small sample size and you do not have any assumption about the population, this Bootstrap standard error is essentially being reported. And most of the time, and this Bootstrap distribution, there is some results which says that this Bootstrap distribution behave like a normal distribution, which is not always true although, but that is really under certain assumptions. Okay, is that process clear? Because there are multiple packages in R which does provide the flexibility of doing bootstrapping, and for ecologists, this is a very, very favorite technique by them. Okay, so as you can see that this is basically the histogram based on this x1 bar, x2 bar and xb bar values. Again, as you can see that this is acting like a normal distribution only. So if I just try to fit a normal distribution over here, denom, you don't have to write it down. Denom, so curve denom x mean is equal to bootstrap mean, which is bootstrap mean value that you have got, and SD is equal to that SD you have computed, or maybe instead of SD I'm giving it as a AC. So bootstrap standard error and add is equal to true and call is equal to rate. As you can see that yes, this bootstrap sampling distribution is very well approximated by a normal distribution. Now immediately the question arises, how you are going to get a confidence interval about this parameter which needs to be reported. So with all the whenever you are performing a bootstrap, the standard error and the corresponding confidence interval about the parameters needs to be reported. So this is something called as a non-parametric type confidence interval, or so we give it as a name also as a bootstrap confidence interval for the population mean. And what is going to be the case? That basically, you know, everybody knows about median, right? What you do in median, you have the original data, you sort it, and you find out the middlemost value, right? And so basically, in non-parametric type, what you do, you sort this data. So you sort this data and you write it down in the form of from ascending to from smaller to larger values. Then you cut down the lower 2.5% and cut down the upper 2.5%. So whatever be the value that you get, they act as a 95% bootstrap confidence interval. Let us see how we do that, how we do it in R. So I think there is some function called quantile. Quantile function, you pass this boot underscore means, and what quantile you want? 2.5 2.5% and 97.5 and divided by 100. As you can see that here you have got two values. So 4.43 is the 2.5% quantile and 5.442 is the 97.5% quantile for the bootstrap mean values. This for the sampling distribution. And what you get, you write down this. Okay, let me call this as a val. So CI. Let me call this CI, and you put some two vertical lines, maybe AB. V is equal to CI. All is equal to blue, maybe. Right? So these are the two values that you have got. These basically act as a, so these two vertical lines that you have got, these basically called as a bootstrap confidence interval, 95% bootstrap confidence interval for the parameter population parameter, or which is mean of the population. Very important. Like it is, we ourselves know that in how many places actually we had to use it. Okay, so please, later part you may have a look at the recording of this lecture also, but ensure that there are many packages also which just provide this automatically. This bias corrected and other concepts are also there. With a very small time we cannot talk about so many things, but this is what it is very important. When you have a small data, understand it. When you have a small data in your research problem, many times you may come across that you do not have adequate data, and you are not in a situation to put some kind of assumption about the population that you are investigating. So in that case, it is always better to go with the bootstrap testing. So what is your hypothesis? You can go for a bootstrap testing. So if your null hypothesis about the parameter is that this parameter value is equal to something, if that parameter value equal to something comes within this 95% confidence interval, that means this between these two vertical blue lines, then you are going to accept the null hypothesis. Otherwise, you are going to reject the null hypothesis. Very powerful technique and very important method. Okay. Now I urge you to, this is a, so you can have a look at, you will find multiple packages in our that deals with bootstrap hypothesis testing and bootstrap standard error method in regression problems. And in particular, you can have a look at this package called ALR3 that offers some nice way of performing bootstrap, identifying the coefficients or uncertainty or standard error of the coefficients using the bootstrapping. Okay, so this is one of the very important technique, and most of the ecologists, like statistical ecology book or guidelines for ecologists, the statistical methods using R. This is one of the method which almost every book contains. So I think this is what I wanted to talk about. Bootstrapping, and a bit of homework. Homework is that for the regression model that we have fitted yesterday, find the bootstrap confidence interval for the coefficient estimates of MnO2 and MX in predicting the algae concentration of algae A1. Okay, this is something which you do. You will understand that how we actually get the various forms of it. Now, just to show you as a sample, that what kind of picture that you would be expecting it. Where did it go? Let me just show it again.
Why the gap? So space out. Sir. So we have a doubt.
Yes, please.
Sir, that BU in bracket mat, that it shows not accessed.
Okay, so where is the problem? So here you are asking the problem is here.
Yes.
Okay, what is the problem it is showing?
It shows not accessed.
Not access.
BU mat, when you open it now, like the mat tabular column shows everything like NaNA.
Like this is what I have done deliberately, because here if I run this, say sample X, be this, and this is my matrix. If I view this matrix, if I say some few head of NA, head of this matrix, it is going to show me NA only, right? Because till now the matrix is not filled up. Here I am going to fill up this matrix with the artificially simulated sample from the same data. Got it? So after I execute this line, now you see what is the head of mat. Now see that the values have come.
But can you once explain that 189 to 192? There it shows a small arrow kind of thing in the number, and you have kept this cover bracket.
Okay, here you got an error.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm writing a loop for I is 1 is to B. So that means B is the number of rows in this matrix, right? That means number of bootstrap sample. For I, when I takes value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when I equal to 1, so I am simulating a bootstrap sample from the original data. I'm getting a one sample of size which has the same length. I'm putting that same data into I'm just filling up the first row of the matrix using this. Okay. So just write down this piece of code. I think it will run in your PC also. Just check out this semicolon and that lines you have written correctly. You have got it?
But again, it's showing not access.
So just check out the replace spelling.
Which spelling?
If you just check out what is the spelling of you given for replace. It is small z. This is also small z.
All the them.
Is it coming now?
Yeah.
Space.
So the thing is that see, here it is showing this. Yeah. But in 189, you have the down arrow mark. No?
Okay, 189. 189, yes.
Like that, below, I am unable to get this up arrow mark.
No, this arrow mark is just for hiding something. So this arrow marks is nothing to do. Only thing is that you have a bracket starting over here. That bracket, these braces must close here, and then you execute this full thing completely.
It shows that sir error in Z, the object Z not found.
So that means the sample function. Check out the sample function properly. Have you written capital X, capital S, or something?
Okay. Yes, sir. You're right. You're right. Yes, sir, it's working.
Can you anybody check out, because he may not run the X also. X is equal to R norm. That line whether he has executed or not.
Jet not find
What will mean?
close now.
Boot copy. Boot underscore. It's probably mistake pointer.
Okay, did not work yet?
Sir, can you go down a bit? Above 198.
So this part is resolved?
Yes, it's solved.
Okay, what is the problem?
Now, sir, go below. Sir, you need to go below. After the curve, this thing.
Oh, here. This is basically the CI.
Everything is working out, sir.
Oh, great, excellent. So please believe me, in many of the last or some of the research papers, we have actually reported this bootstrap confidence interval. You just search over the internet, you will see that this is being reported. Whenever we have a small size of the data, it is inevitable that we need to go for a bootstrapping. Okay. I want you to do this ALR3, some package that I have said, a bit of exploration, you're going to get some kind of a picture of this form.
What is good? What is good? Okay.
There is no one budget here. As we just have only one person budget.
Okay, so I'm just sharing another screen.
There is no space in between them.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if you go to this website, it's in my web page. So there is a tab called biological growth models. So that basically in a workshop that we had done in for 2 days in 2019. So there basically you will find out that how we can perform bootstrapping in nonlinear models. So as you can see that bootstrapping nonlinear regression models, how we can actually do this. As you can see that here codes are also given, and for all the parameters, actually you can find out what are the distributions of the parameters for different models. Okay, so here it is an example with the logistic model. It is given here. So these are the codes. You just have to copy it and execute in your PC, in your R environment. Okay. So very extensively for 2 days, actually, we have covered all these ideas. So every day, 8 hours of lectures. So and you can understand that this is quite extensive. So how we can fit a nonlinear regression models, or of course linear regression model also, and how we can perform the bootstrap estimate of the parameters. This is there. So if you go to this web page, you can find out little bit of description also I added for many of the for different models, and you will find a little bit of idea of it. So read about the package ALR3 and ALR4. You can utilize these two packages also for performing bootstrapping linear regression. Okay, so is it clear? So I think this is what I wanted to talk about bootstrapping. So from bootstrapping, let us now move into our for today's explanations. What are the things that we are talking about? Real data analysis. So, you have any queries? Like, you have any conceptual queries?
Nothing as of now. So we are actually trying to troubleshoot the steps here. We will get back to inquiries.
So I can completely understand it, because in hands-on, but believe me, it is so simple. It can be very easily handled.
Color.
So I think you got disconnected. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes.
Oh, your screen froze for a bit. Now it's fine.
Okay. So am I going very fast? Hello. Am I going very fast?
I'm asking the participants. He's asking if he's fast. Some of them feel it's a kind of a bit faster, but they are trying to keep up.
Yes.
They are experiencing all for the first time.
Okay. Got it. I can understand. I completely understand. So, but I think it is more of a kind of data analytical ideas, and even if you could not follow some of the R codes, that is absolutely fine. But I think the underlying methodology, why actually we are selecting it, why you thought of doing it, what are the insights that we are getting? Any questions related to that, please do ask. Like, because anyway, these codes are going to be provided. Sure.
So we'll discuss among ourselves. We'll try to get our doubts clear, and then we'll ask you, sir. Because
Yeah.
you
Sure.
different.
I understand. Please, everybody, please understand that for our since it is actually a programming platform, and we are not most of the time we are not coming from any kind of programming or quantitative background. So at initial time it is difficult, but believe me, once now many of the collaborators whom we are meeting, many of the PhD students, they are very they got quite well versed with these things. Like after looking into different codes from different blogs, running them, experimenting with them, so we good to know. I think that's the main hurdle that by using repetitively using it for different purposes, we'll get comfortable with this. And also, what we found it very useful that many of the researchers who provide their codes also in the supporting information, and we also have a look at that, and we try to get idea that what are the packages, other things what they have used. So that actually helped us a lot.
So can we take a short break? We are meet back in 10 minutes, sir.
Yes. So 3:45, is that fine? We are meeting at 3:45.
No, sir. We are just having a tea break for the participants, and then we'll get back fresh.
Yes, sure, no problem. Yeah.
We'll meet back at 3:45, sir.
Yes,
Time now
yes.
30.
Absolutely fine. 3:45 we are meeting. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Participants, we can break for tea, and we'll be back in 15 minutes.
எனக்கு நேற்று வரல அவங்க அனுப்பிச்சோனையும் அவங்க மெயில் அந்த அட்டாச்மெண்ட் ஓப்பன் பண்ணுவாங்க. இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லொகேஷன் ஃபைல் லொகேஷன் நம்ம இதில் வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும்ல ஃபோல்டர் அதை மட்டும் மாற்றிட்டு ப்ளூ வந்துருச்சு. இந்த கால் ப்ளூ இந்த ஃபங்க்ஷன் ஒர்க் ஆகல.
Tea would still be good.
And the letter is
கார்த்தி சார் இதில் வெளியில் ஃபைல் ஒன்று டெலிட் பண்ணிருக்கேன் என்னோட ப்ரெசன்டேஷன். ஏன்னு டெஸ்க்டாப்